welcome the President and CEO of United Technologies, Gregory Hayes. He's here with Matthew Bishop, Senior Editor at The Economist, who will lead the conversation. Gentlemen, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you much. Well, thank you, Greg. It's great to be here, particularly as a representative of The Economist, to be here with The Atlantic this morning. So I would like to start by thanking Greg for the opportunity to talk. And this question of urbanization and sustainability, I'm going to ask a really basic question to kick us off. People talk about opportunity and threat when they see a big trend like this. What for you as a company is the biggest opportunity? Why are you taking this so seriously as an issue?
Before I answer the question, first of all, Matthew, thank you for taking the time to spend with us, and thank you all for coming today. Sustainability is not an option for business going forward. As I think about United Technologies, we're a big company. We're 200,000 employees around the world, $55 billion of revenue. And most people don't know who United Technologies is, but you know the brands. You know Otis Elevator, you know Carrier Air Conditioning, you know Chubb Security, you know Pratt & Whitney engines. And the fact is, it's a big company, but the whole future of our company is really going to be based on two things. One is innovation, and one is sustainability. And when I think about sustainability, it's not an option for our business, it's an imperative. And I say that because the world is changing. As we talked about urbanization, you think about the growth of the middle class. Today, 25% of the world's population is middle class. By 2030, 60% of the world's population will be middle class. We're going to have a $9 billion person world in 2050. The necessity of sustainability is never more apparent than when you look at some of these big demographic trends, and that's why it's so important for us to be here today.
And in terms of your main products, where do you see the sort of the greatest effect on your business in the near future?
Well, I think, again, you have two businesses here. You have a big aerospace business and a big commercial buildings business, and it's a little bit different on each, but it really, in the short term, it's about the products and the next generation of products. So we have an elevator today called the Regen elevator, which has a regenerative drive, which returns 75% of the power it uses every day to the grid. We've got a next generation elevator coming out called the Switch, which will have solar panels on the roof of a building. It will put power into a battery, and it will run an entire elevator on the power it takes to run an air conditioner, a hair dryer. Very, very low. The other thing,
a hair dryer.
A hair dryer, 1,200 watts. Very, very efficient. You think about the Carrier business and chillers in buildings. Air conditioning takes up about 20% of the world's energy around the world. 40% of the world's energy is consumed in buildings. Half of that is air conditioning. Now, what's happened over the last 40 years is air conditioners have become 50% more efficient on average. Our products are actually 70% more efficient than they were 40 years ago. And yet still, you've got this imperative because of buildings getting bigger, populations becoming more dense in the cities. You have to continue to invest in the innovation to make sure that you're staying ahead of the curve.
And the sorts of innovations that you're looking to make, I mean, they're incremental, or are they sort of breakthrough type innovations?
Well, let me go back to aerospace. We have a new product out there. It's called the geared turbofan engine. This has been in development for about 20 years. And the geared turbofan, it's very simply put, you put a gear on the front of a large turbofan jet engine, and you can run the engine much more efficiently. In fact, so much more efficiently, you save about 16% of the fuel versus last generation. It also reduces noise about 75%, and it reduces emissions, which is a big issue with airlines today, by 50%. So this is a 20-year product, and today it's in service at Lufthansa. It's actually seen the true 16% fuel burn savings, and it's been game-changing in terms of the aerospace business for Pratt & Whitney, and it will be in service for the next 30 years. So that's an idea of a product that actually leapfrogs current technology and really sets the goal.
How does aerospace fit into the urbanization stories? In a sense, it's about getting away from cities, isn't it? Largely,
it's actually about connecting cities.
Right.
So you go back to this idea of the urbanization and this growth of the middle class. The fact is, people want to stay connected. Today, less than 20% of the world's population has ever set foot on an airplane. Think about that. Right. 1 out of 5 people have flown in the world today. And as I think about this over the next 20 years, that will double. We will see 40% of the world's population will have flown. That means you're going to double the number of aircraft out there. You're going to double the connectivity, and people want to stay connected culturally, economically, and air transportation is the key to that. And doing it in a sustainable method is the only way you're going to be successful.
Because, I mean, unless we do tackle this sustainability issue with air travel, I mean, it's going to be a subject of more and more regulation, backlash, and so forth.
You saw that last week. There was actually an agreement amongst the airlines and the environmental groups to actually reduce carbon emissions by 2028. The products that we're selling today, the geared turbofan, actually meet all the requirements of the 2028 goals. So for us, it's about staying ahead of this now.
So a lot of companies talk about being sustainable and taking climate change and other things that are challenging sustainability seriously. I mean, what in practice are you doing to show that you're walking the walk as well as talking the talk?
Well, sustainability is not a new issue at UTC. We actually started this journey back in 1997. And to put that in perspective, over the last 20 years or so, our business has grown by about 3 times. We've actually reduced water consumption in that business by 57%. We've reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 34% over that 20-year period, while tripling the revenues. As I think about the next 5 years, what we're rolling out today is our 2020 sustainability goals. We're going to reduce water consumption another 25%, greenhouse gas emissions another 15%, all while growing the top line almost 25%. So for us, it's just a way of life at UTC. It's not just our products, it's what we do in our own factories and offices.
And what's driven the decision to start talking about this publicly? Because I guess for a long time, if you've been doing it since 1997, we haven't heard a lot about it until now.
Well, we have been talking about it publicly, but I think it's just gaining so much more momentum around the world. If you think about it, in 2005, only about 5% of the buildings that were built in the United States had any type of green design elements. Today, that's 47%. This issue around sustainability becomes more and more important to our customers, to the world at large, as well as to our own employees. This is one of the things that people don't think about. As the millennials come into the workforce, they're thinking, where do I want to work? Where can I work at a place that makes a difference? And I tell you, UTC, we can make a difference in the world.
So I guess one of the questions that comes up a lot is, the business world is attacked by the markets for being, spending stuff that doesn't benefit the bottom line in the short run. A lot of people perceive in the markets that when you talk about sustainability, what you're really talking about is spending money on stuff that doesn't really boost the bottom line. And I mean, like many companies, the last few months have been pretty rough for you guys, as well as lots of other people in the stock market. Do you feel you're able to deliver this longer term strategy? Does it boost the bottom line in the long run? And how do you convince shareholders of that?
I think the key is for the leaders in business today to resist this idea of short-termism. It's out there in the markets every day. It's the pressure to grow earnings, to grow the stock price. In our business, we have business cycles that last 30, 40, 50 years. So we have to continue to invest today to build the products, to innovate, to make sure that our products are there for the next several generations. The idea is we could grow earnings a lot faster if we didn't invest $2.5 billion a year in R&D. I could cut that in half, and for the next 5 years, everything would probably be very good. But I wouldn't have a product pipeline, and we wouldn't be doing the right thing for the long-term nature of the business. And UTC, we've been in these businesses since they were founded. Elijah Graves Otis started his business 160 years ago here in New York. Right? Willis Carrier invented the air conditioner more than 75 years ago. Fred Rentschler with the modern engine started at Pratt & Whitney. All these are industries that we invented, and we're going to be in these businesses for a long term. So we have to continue to keep our eyes on the horizon in terms of technology and innovation, continue to invest. It's not saying you can't meet shareholder demands for growth and earnings. You just have to do it in a responsible fashion. You got to do what you need to do for short term, but you always have to keep your eye on the horizon. And this is where sustainability becomes such a key for us in terms of the driving force.
So when you talk to shareholders and they are skeptical, I mean, what for you is the sort of strongest argument that gets most traction with them?
Well, because we're not in the business for this quarter, for just this year. If I sell a jet engine today and I lose $1 million on a jet engine, I need to be in business for the next 30 years to service that engine, to make that profit back for all the investments that I've made. I sell an elevator today. I don't make any money on the elevator, but I'm going to service it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And so if investors don't have a view that they can look at the long term, then they're probably not going to invest in UTC, but that's all right. They've got a lot of other choices out there of places they can put their money. Our story is one of long-term sustainable growth, sustainable products, and innovation.
As you look around your fellow business leader community, how far do you think they've come in terms of understanding this imperative for sustainability and the opportunity in urbanization? How would you challenge them to take it further?
I think everybody understands. You talk to whether it's Jeff Immelt or any of the other leaders of the business community, people understand the imperative around sustainability. I think we just need to translate that understanding into investments and into future innovation. And again, it will come from a groundswell of support from the world's population and the need for sustainability, from our employees and from our customers. And if you listen to those groups, you know what you need to do.
So, to wrap up, for you, the test that you're going to hold yourself to over the next 5 years, you've set these 2020 goals. What for you, is the biggest challenge that you're going to face and that will keep you awake at night as you sort of wrestle with how you get this done?
Well, I think it's the constant battle between the short-term need for profit growth and the long-term investments. We will meet these 2020 sustainability goals just as we've met every other 5-year goal that we've set over the last 20 years. We're going to continue to invest. And there's always pushback from our businesses. Do we really need to invest in this next project because the water savings that we're going to get, I don't see where that shows up in the bottom line. And what we've told the businesses is these are not optional, right? All of our businesses are out there serving customers, but they're also serving the community. And so they know they need to make these investments. And we're going to continue to push, and we're going to continue to strive to go even further than these goals.
And I suppose just the flip side of that is, do you feel, as you look at cities and the leadership of cities and the people making the investment decisions in cities, that they are asking for what you're able to give them as a business? Again,
each city is a little bit different. Certainly if you go to China today, you talk to the mayor of Shanghai, you go to Beijing, they understand the imperative around sustainability, around green buildings. They understand how it impacts people's lives. So yeah, I think the mayors of the world, they understand it. What they need are partners in the business community, partners in government to make it a reality.
Great. Well, we had a brief window to kick the conversation off for the day, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Starting us off. Thank you.